Hey everyone, this is Tia and I am back with another wreath tutorial. These are my winter wreaths and I selected a square frame this time around. I got all the supplies from the Dollar Tree, or now $1.25 tree, and I will be covering this frame with this table runner. You will need two table runners for one frame. One table runner won't do it. So as you see, I have one there. I'll tell you a little bit more about the table runners in a moment. Along with that, I'm struggling with these gold, I think, holly berries, which are really, really cute, that I'll be using as part of my decoration. In advance, please forgive me for zooming into the newspaper multiple times. We've got some white eucalyptus, very, very nice and wintry looking, along with the gold eucalyptus leaves, or at least that's what they said on the stem cluster that I got. So there's one of those close-ups. We've got some white poinsettia blossoms, very pretty, that will be going on the wreath as well. But we've also got some ribbon. I'll be making one large bow from these wider ribbons. I'm going to take 3 of them. They're 3 different patterns and make them into one giant bow. But then I've got some smaller, narrower ribbons, and I will be making 2 bows out of these 3 ribbons and putting them onto the wreath. So 2 smaller bows, 1 large bow. Then we've got here another close-up, sorry. And then we've got some sparkly, I think these are ferns, but some sparkly gold ferns that'll be going onto the wreath, as well as some gold poinsettias, which will be making their way onto the wreath too. Very, very pretty. Love these. I'll be using those leaves as well. And then one more close up. I shouldn't be doing this too much more. We've got a wire cutter here, my very, very trusty and handy friend, and the true star of the show, none other than my very battered glue gun. And they do sell these at the Dollar Tree now, so you can get one for $1.25 if you go to the right location. All of them also have these glue sticks, and 4 glue sticks should be more than enough for one frame, but you'll get a whole bunch if you buy a pack of glue sticks from the Dollar Tree. You'll get more than 4 sticks. So here are the supplies. Let me pile them up, and here we go. So we've got here, I've already wrapped the table runner partially and just glued it into place so that as I wrap it around the frame, it will have a spot where it won't, I guess it won't shift, it won't move from that spot. You do have to be a bit artful when you wrap this. You want it snug, but it doesn't have to be super tight. It also doesn't have to be super perfect or neat, because you will be covering this with other things, but you just want to give your base a frame. You're going to find you adjust quite a bit. You'll see my hands quite a bit with the wrapping, because it's just a practice. It's not something too scientific. You're just wrapping it around and arranging as you see fit. So you just keep on wrapping until you get that whole table runner wrapped around, and then you're going to glue the end of it in place once you have it arranged how you want. This is why it's important to have 2 table runners. 1 runner will not cover this frame. 2 runners will give you extra fabric left over that you will be using for part of the decorations. So 2 is perfect, and if you're doing 2 wreaths like me, then 3 table runners is fine, because per frame you need approximately 1.5. 1.5 is generally pretty good. As you can see, I'm still arranging it. It's, it looks a little messy, but it does come together as you pin and glue and arrange it just so. And so once you get it all in place, it's time to glue it and to press it in place. And I usually will grab my wire cutter, but because this part of the fabric is thicker, the heat didn't quite come through and burn my fingers. So we're wrapping, and you can see it looks a little messy, but that's okay, because the more you kind of tweak it to your liking, you can tighten the fabric up in places and then glue it to hold it the way you want, which is what I'm doing here. I'm putting a little more glue, but I'm out of glue, so I need to add one more stick. Probably the worst part of the process is having to coordinate new stick re-uploads, I guess. But you're gonna fold and hold, and it will help to make the fabric a little more snug on the frame in spots. And there is my wire cutter. I'll be using that to hold it in place just as I get this all glued. So what you'll notice is that usually at least one or two of the corners look really, really nice when you do this. That corner you might have exposed. Oh, look at this. There was glue that hadn't quite set all the way yet. It's not a problem. You just re-glue and hold a little bit longer till you know it's secure, and you wait. And the good thing about hot glue is that those strings peel off pretty easily. So like my nail has hot glue on it. I had no problem removing that and having a very, very neat look afterward. My nails were good as new. It's not permanent. It's fine. And there I am cleaning some glue off. So there I am holding everything in place. The next part of this process is to, after you make sure everything is glued and secured like I am, is to grab that second table runner and to start your gluing and arranging process again, because you got to cover that exposed wire. Now, if you somehow only have one table runner, you could probably obscure the bottom of this with something else, like some other fabric, and then just cover it. But if you're already there and you have the table runners, just go ahead and get two. It's a better idea. It's much easier on you, and it gives your frame a very nice uniform coverage, which is nice. As you see, I'm going back. I'm gluing in spots. I'm just tucking and arranging the fabric so that it looks nice before I do my decoration. No, it doesn't have to be perfect, but getting it right before you do your decoration makes it easier if your decoration isn't, 100% perfect. So now I'm going to start applying that half of the runner, that second runner. I've already done one frame, so that's why I only had half of this runner left. And it's easy. You're just going to glue it, fold it to cover the frame, glue again, make sure it looks nice, and keep it moving. Very simple process. I'm holding it in place, and I'm about to fold. And once that's done, you've done the hardest part of this process. That and the bow tying probably, but you'll see I'm not very good at tying bows, but it still looks nice. And what I've learned is that the more supplies, the better. The more supplies you add, the better you are. So I'm going to snip that, glue it in place, and yeah, that's going to be it. There's the glue gun. I'm going to glue it, and bam, look at that. We've got a covered frame. Yeah, it's not perfect, but look, the fact that you wrapped it gave it a little artistic look. And what I do is I select the best looking corner on this frame, and that's the corner that I'm going to put toward the top of my whole wreath setup. So I'm not going to cover that really nicely folded frame. Anyway, here we go. We got some flowers here. We got gold poinsettias for each of those corners that'll be on the east and west of the wreath. I will be putting, I'm showing you two. I ended up settling on three just for a little more fullness. And for the bottom half, as you see me pointing, I'm going to add one fern cluster a piece, one gold holly a piece. And I actually ended up doing that top and bottom. So you'll see it here. And here we go. We've got 2, 2, 2, and 2. So we put the holly and the fern on top and bottom, one each side of this frame. And you see I've got those poinsettias. You'll notice that you can see a little bit of the poinsettia stem. I covered it with a little bit of excess table runner fabric when I glued it. So that helps obscure it. And that's why having a little extra table runner fabric is a good idea. Okay, now we're making bows. 3 ribbons. It's about 16 inches of ribbon roughly. And I'm just going to make a simple bow. There won't be a bow tutorial here because honestly, I'm not that great at them. I know that the more ribbon you use, even a simple bow will look fancier if you use enough ribbon. So just, you look up different ribbon tutorials and tying them, and you'll figure out how to do it, because my advice is terrible other than just, bunny ears folded over and make a knot, and there you go. And just trim the ends. Once you have the loops looking pretty nice, trim the ends, and that way it looks a lot more intentional, even if you're not that great at it. I'm going to glue that right on top of that fabric I used to cover the stems. Yes, I will be not tying, hot gluing that bow right onto the top. And when it's hot glued, it's going to obscure some of the fabric, obscure some of the stem, but it's also going to add some fullness in that space between the flower cluster and the fern and holly clusters. And like I said, there'll be a bow on the east and west of this wreath. So it'll be nice and uniform on both sides. And you can see this color palette. I wanted something that wasn't obviously Christmassy, because Christmas is only one day, but winter lasts for a season. So this is perfect for winter. It looks like snow. It's just wonderful. I love it. And so there I am with my second bow, about to hot glue it and show you what it looks like. So we have it all glued in place. Now, on the top half, we're going to be, now this is me just kind of rearranging and fluffing, making sure it's right. On the top half, I'm going to put my white poinsettias right above that upper fern and holly cluster on either side of that north point. So I'm going to put my poinsettias there, but then I'm going to put some gold poinsettias toward the bottom, and you save those leaves. You're going to be using them as filler later, and it'll look nice, I promise. So there we go. We've got my white poinsettias at the top, not quite artfully arranged. Then we've got my gold ones on either side. Oh, you know what? I meant to say at the bottom, those rose gold ones, still from the Dollar Tree. It's just another poinsettia option, but it's more rosy gold than the tops and the sides. So what I'm doing is I'm kind of showing you that I added 3 for that fullness on either side. And it's going to be basically one good poinsettia cluster will give you 3 of each for each side. You can see there, I've got some stuff in place. So I'm moving the frame aside. And now I'm about to do my big bow that's going to obscure the stems that I just showed you. So this is a 9-foot ribbon. Yes, 9-foot wire-edged ribbon. That's the white ribbon you're going to see. And then I had 2 of these wider ribbons that I'm going to use to make my big bow. And I tie the big bow again. This is not a fancy project. I don't know how to tie that well, but I'm going to make sure that these are nice and even, and the same length for all 3 pieces of ribbon. As you can see, these are different patterns, but the same color family. You've got gold on one side, but it's actually silver on the other. The impression is gold, but the back of it is silver for those leaves on the ribbon. So you're getting gold, silver, and white through the ribbon combination. It is just so stunning and so beautiful, perfect for the winter time. Here I am making a bow happen. Again, the more fabric you use and the bigger you make it, the better. And so I am trying to get this together, trying to make this look how I want it to. I'm just arranging the bow just so. I had a little glitch, so if the recording sounds weird, it's just because I had an interruption. But I didn't lose my thought. We've got here this bow, and what I do is I trim the ends. Once I get the bow to look how I want it to, I trim the ends to make it nice and even on either side, and then I get ready to apply it to my wreath. And so, boom, we've got a ribbon bow ready. We're going to hot glue it to the bottom right there in between those rose gold poinsettias. And we're going to press and hold into place. It takes it a minute to stick. I don't know what that's about, but we got it in place and it is perfect once we get it on there. So we've got it. Now it is time to start filling in this with other little accents. And if you notice, I'm in my dining room. I've got other stuff on the table, but I had to clear space for this project. So I'm inserting my eucalyptus now on the bottom half. No, not bottom, the top halves. Sorry. Oh, it's been a long day. So we're inserting the eucalyptus leaves. We're going to be inserting the white eucalyptus. And if you can't insert it, like if you can't find a little pocket to tuck it in between the stuff that's already been hot glued, then you simply hot glue it using the method that I showed you where you glue it down and perhaps use a little fabric to cover part of the stem and to help give the glue something else to adhere to. And so you're going to fill it with those things. And now you're going to take those little leaf clusters. That little point of green is perfect. And then you're going to use these little sparkly gold balls. You can buy a bunch of them at the Dollar Tree. Here they are in two different, slightly different shades of gold as well as sizes. And you put them right in the middle of the leaves. Very easy. Now I'm going to show you what it looks like on my door. Look for this. Look at it. Look at it. Look at it. So yes, I will probably end up enhancing them either more, but that is the tutorial. Hope you enjoyed. Ask me any questions below. Talk to you soon.